Are we there?
Are we
yet?
there? Are we there?
We need to get there.
Wait, are we there? There.
Are we there? Are we there?
Are we there yet? Are we there? Are we there yet?
Guys, we haven't even left the house yet.
Do you live, eat, and sleep the hotel industry? Looking to brush up on your game? You've come to the right place. Welcome to No Vacancy, the hospitality industry's #1 podcast, with your host, Glenn Hausman.
Hello one, hello all. It's Glenn here from the No Vacancy podcast, and I'm excited and delighted to have you joining me here today. Man, I can't believe we're already into December. Just a couple of more weeks to the Christmas holiday, and this year has gone by so fast. Boo! I can't believe it. Man, has it been an incredibly exciting year. And it's all been culminating to this month, because I'm very excited about my all-new NoVacancyNews.com website. Be sure to check it out. That's NoVacancyNews.com. Great new website. It's all about a place for a home base for these podcasts that we do. You can more easily find them. We've got a greatest hits list on there for you to listen to them, as well as a whole series of videos that I'm going to be starting to release. Aside from videos from yours truly over here, maybe spouting out on an opinion or a particular issue that's happening in the business, or perhaps if I'm at a location doing something, I've got great interviews with a lot of hotel industry insiders and leaders, the people you need to know that you are going to learn from. And I'm not doing the typical type of interviews either. For example, I've got a good one that I've just put up with Brian Quinn, VP of Franchising with Choice Hotels. We talk about keeping the hospitality in hospitality. It's a lot of fun. I think you're going to like it. Check it out at NoVacancyNews.com. That's NoVacancyNews.com. And be sure to go to social media and like our Facebook page, like our page on LinkedIn, and be sure to leave us a 5-star rating on iTunes. Because really, can I get a show through without asking for that? Just do it for me. Do it for me. Andy Pennington, if you're listening, I want to thank you for trying to spread the word on this. So thank you so very much. Okay, this show is brought to you in part by Duetto, the revenue strategy technology platform that thousands of hotels are using to make more money and beat market growth rates. If you want to learn all about that and see great real-life examples from companies that are finding success with Duetto, go to getrevenueresults.com. I think you'll like what they have to say. Great people, terrific product. Check them out at getrevenueresults.com. Okay, so we're a little over 2 minutes into the show, and you've probably figured out that I am all alone for the first part of this show. Listen, I got a good excuse. I could totally just make something up, but the truth is I was going to have our executive producer, Jeff Polly, on the show. We were going to do a really great hysterical segment that was probably going to be the best one of all time. But no, unfortunately, he's stuck in the California wildfires, and he has been evacuated. His house is in peril. We're not sure what's going on. And quite frankly, him coming on to do a segment of this show was just a little bit too much. I'm shocked that you're hearing this show, though, because he did manage to escape with his wife, get safely ensconced in another city, and managed to put this show together. So I want to make a special thank you to Jeff Polly for knowing that you all love to listen to this show and want to hear this show, expect it to be part of your weekend, and he got it done. So thanks to you, Jeff Polly. Thank you very much for doing this. We can't do this show without you. And just so you know, we'll try to have him on next week and get that segment done. So this week, I was down in San Antonio, Texas, and I was participating in an event called Design Connections, and I had an opportunity to do a great panel and some great educational sessions, and even had a couple of great cocktails, and want to thank Kevin Ball for those great cocktails over at Golden Entertainment. Bourbon, I love you. One night, I love you. Next morning, I don't love you so much. But anyway, back to Design Connections. Great event. Such a great time. It was interesting to me because this wasn't just a hospitality-specific event. We can go to all those all year and continue with that positive feedback loop about how awesome we're doing without really hearing any new ideas that are interesting or refreshing or just make you want to come alive, right? But this event was interesting to me because there was an intermingling of our beloved hospitality business, along with the workplace, healthcare, and education, which made it really exciting to see what all those other disciplines are doing and how it's being looked at for inspiration within the other sectors. And you know what's happening? A lot of folks are tapping into what we're doing in the hospitality market already to be successful. I like how I keep saying, like, what we're doing, because you're all doing it. I'm not doing anything. I'm just sitting here talking about it and taking credit for it. But the fact is, hospital rooms, they're starting to look increasingly more and more like hotel rooms. Schools, they're looking like hotel lobbies in a lot of instances, with different learning zones all over the place. Understanding in some of these schools that kids learn in different ways, and they might want to be together in groups for a little while and then sit at a large communal table for a little bit, or maybe have a place in order to be alone together, right? Doesn't that sound familiar? Doesn't that sound like a lot of our hotel lobbies that are out there? So the other thing was offices. They're doing things more like integrating cafe spaces and food and beverage spaces when they're starting to pull their people together. They're realizing that the more people meet and intermingle, the more conversations they'll have that could possibly lead to inspiration and better success for the company. So by putting a little more emphasis on the cafe spaces, they're creating a natural place for folks to come together and meet and learn and connect. So the one big word of the show that I liked the most that I wanted to share with you was biophilic design. Biophilic design, what's this all about? It's interesting, it's fascinating. It's all about Mother Nature. So biophilic design, right, is about seeking to connect us with the outdoors as we deal with the modern world indoors. So it recognizing that our species, was an outdoor species for pretty much all of time until pretty recently, and how we interacted with nature was in essence the way we lived our lives. And we still, on a DNA, I think, level, kind of crave that, right? So that means we must make design instrumental in improving people's physical and mental health, their fitness, and their well-being. So biophilic design plays into that notion of what we want to do with having a natural habitat within a largely built environment. We spend something like 90% of our times indoors now. 90% of our time. That's so depressing to me, but I think about it. I mean, I'm either in a conference room somewhere, or in an Uber going to the airport, or in an airplane, or in a car going home, or sitting here at my desk today talking to you, but most of it's indoors. 90% of our time is spent indoors. So biophilic design is seeking to satisfy our cravings for nature indoors, right? So in the hospitality industry, I used to call that bringing the outside inside, but I think biophilic design sounds a lot cooler. My suggestion to you, next cocktail party, next business meeting, drop biophilic design into the conversation. You're going to look pretty smart. Okay, so I also want to thank the good folks over at AHOA, my friends at the Asian American Hotel Owners Association. Man, they're doing a great job. Last month, I had the opportunity to be on stage with Chip Rogers, the association's CEO, for an amazing panel. He's a great guy, really knows his stuff, and that's why I'm really excited that from March 27th through March 30th, I'm going to be participating in AHOACon. That's right. At their annual convention, No Vacancy is now the official podcast of the AHOA Convention and Trade Show 2018. And No Vacancy is going to be broadcasting there throughout the event on each of those days. Why? Because, hey, it's the largest hospitality convention and trade show in the world, and I'd be foolish, I tell you, not to want to do something from there. I'm going to be there capturing stories and advice from among the thousands of people living the American dream every single day. It's one of my most favorite groups of people because I get to hear these fascinating stories. I get to see so many great successes. I get to tell fascinating stories, and we're going to be doing that both on video, both through this podcast, and hopefully in some other fun and interesting ways. We're going to be doing them live on the internet, all sorts of great stuff that I can't wait for. I also want to thank Red Roof for being a great sponsor for this particular portion of the event. They're going to be sponsoring the booth that I'm going to be broadcasting in. So thank you, Red Roof, for doing that. Again, March 27th through March 30th. Make sure you are attending the AHOA conference. I know you'll be there. You've got to be there. How could you not be there? Come on. All right. So here's what's going to happen. Instead of me prattling on for another 20 minutes, I'm going to take it away to a pre-recorded segment. Then we're going to go to a commercial break and then have another segment. So first up, we have two people for the price of one, or I should say for the price of none, because, hey, none of you guys are donating to my Patreon account. So basically, I'm doing this for free. Okay, I've got sponsors, and if you want to sponsor us, drop me a line, Glenn at rouse.media. advertise on No Vacancy News, hire me to speak at one of your events, or better yet, just give me a 5-star rating on iTunes. Just kidding. Money's much better than a 5-star rating. Anyway, we got 2 people on the show for the first segment. Jennifer Johnson. She is the VP of Loyalty Marketing with Foxwoods, one of the world's largest casinos. You know it. It's up in Connecticut, New York, and was one of the original Native American casinos ever built when the Indian Gaming Act went through in the late 1980s. So we have Jennifer Johnson on the show along with Aron Ezra. He's the CEO of a company called OfferCraft, right? And this is a fascinating conversation because we talk about gamification, turbocharging hospitality campaigns. So we're going to talk about how Foxwoods is incorporating the gamification of advertising and marketing for cool customer engagement. We're going to see some of their case studies and really understand what worked and why this, I think, is a revolutionary idea for emotionally connecting with customers. And if you know me, I'm all about connecting with customers. All right, so the second segment, we're going to talk about the redevelopment of Bahia Mar in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. We talked to Jimmy Tate, the CEO of Tate Capital and the owner and operator of Bahia Mar, Fort Lauderdale. And we're going to talk about reinventing that hotel, the future vision of the property, what it means for tourism in the state, and why this project is so important and worthy of its own segment. So thanks so much for listening. I really appreciate you guys taking the show to heart week after week. Share it with your friends. Tell your mom you love the show. Subscribe to it on iTunes and be sure to get on my newsletter list. Text the word hotel 66866. That's the word hotel 66866. Listen, I know you're probably jogging right now. You're on the treadmill. You're going to say you're going to do it. I say pick up your phone now, jog over to it, type the word hotel 66866. Thanks for listening, guys. Enjoy these interviews, and I will see you soon. Take care. Bye. Hey everybody, Glenn back here. So listen, one of the things that I find really interesting is we spend so much time worrying about loyalty in the hospitality business. And the same is especially true in the casino and gaming industry, who I think personally is a lot better at loyalty marketing than I think of a lot of the major hotel companies. And one of the places that I've been going to over the last 20 plus years is Foxwoods, who I think is celebrating their 25th anniversary this year. And they're doing some fun, different things when it comes to marketing towards to their customers and getting them to come. So I've got Jennifer Johnson today. She's VP of Loyalty Marketing at Foxwoods, and Aron Ezra. He's the CEO of a company called OfferCraft, and we're going to be talking about using gamification to turbocharge hospitality campaigns. How are you all doing today?
Fantastic. How are you?
Doing great.
I'm doing great. I'm really excited because honestly, guys, this is something that I've been talking about for years, right? I do a lot of speeches in front of people, and one of the things that I keep saying is how can we make this fun for people? And I'm surprised, for example, that no hotel company out there or casino company has created a fun game that we're going to play on our iPads, for example, that promotes the hotel company. But we're gonna look at this for a little bit different of an angle, and I want to know how you folks are approaching gamification. But I guess the best place to start is really understanding what gamification is and why you're interested in doing it. So, Aron, maybe you're the best person to describe what gamification is all about, and then we can get into Jennifer and how it's being applied.
Yeah, sure. Happy to. So gamification is basically the application of game-like elements, whether they be actual games like a fishing game or a spinning wheel game, or even just something that sort of is a more fun game-like way of conveying certain information. And we incorporate these game-like elements into all sorts of everyday pieces of communication, all sorts of everyday touch points that a property might have with a guest. So instead of that property sending out kind of a normal email blast or putting up a normal Facebook post or putting up normal promotional material on digital signage in the property or even in a billboard, what we're trying to do is allow each of those touch points to include a game in there so that people can play a game to often win that very same offer that they may have been given before, right, or perhaps a different type of.
Right. Yeah, very clever. And I think what we're really talking about here is, you use gamification in order to connect better with your customers, get them engaged. That's the word I'm looking for. Gamification for engagement, right? So is that kind of what we're looking at here? Because I see other companies putting in elements like that. You see Google, for example, and these days they're hitting me up to review properties and say, hey, what's the hour here? Answer these quick questions, and then you hit a threshold and it goes, hey, you've won a badge. I don't know what I'm going to do with that badge, but it makes me feel really good about myself, and it makes me want to continue because I'm engaged. So, Jen, tell me a little bit about how you think gamification is going to work when it comes to loyalty marketing within the Foxwoods ecosystem.
We've actually used it in several different ways. We started off as like standalone promotions on its own as a way to reward new members, putting the game element, getting them excited about, signing up. So we're not just giving them, their usual X dollar amount of slot play. They're actually getting to play, and they could win various amounts, from $5 to $50 or whatever metrics that you want to use. So that adds a little bit of fun to it for the new members. And then we started tying it into some of our promotions to help kind of amplify some of the promotions that we were doing. And we used that through, putting the games in emails that we sent out to the guests, notifying them of the promotion. We put it back on the back of our entertainment tickets. We put it on the web, in Facebook posts. We've had it on our digital signage across property. So we've pretty much put it into every little element that we have across the property to try and engage guests more and get them excited about it. We often put survey information or quick little information into some of those to get feedback from guests in a different kind of way. Our HR department has also used it to help get team members involved and knowledgeable about our promotions. I used it when we rolled out our new loyalty program to give knowledge to our team members so they could speak better about what the new benefits were, what we were offering, how it changed from the last loyalty program. And it's all about the word of mouth from a team member perspective and their ability to explain a promotion or a program means the world as to whether or not guests engage in it.
That's pretty cool. So give me an example of one promotion that you're doing that's tied to this gamification that you're finding that people are becoming more engaged because of it. What are you doing? And then I want to talk about the rationale behind why it's being done that way.
One of the things, there's so many, it's hard to that we're currently working on right now.
Yeah.
One of the things that we are doing is that we have made it as part of our Foxwoods Online. And so we have our Foxwoods Online guests actually playing this game, and within their Foxwoods Online experience, the offer is something that is bringing them back to the property, and we are finding that those guests will play at a higher rate than normal new members do when they come in as new members. Plus, also, they will come back, and if they are existing players, they are generally, some of them are some of our better guests on property already. So it's a different way to reach them when they're not on property and keep Foxwoods top of mind.
That is an element that I think is really, really important that everybody understands. So it's not just engaging them when they're on the property, but it's keeping your brand top of mind, which I think is fascinating. And that's one of the issues that I'm seeing here in the hospitality business that people aren't doing right. We're just starting to dip our toes into understanding travelers from the moment of the idea of going somewhere to when they've already returned post-trip. We focus so much on only what's going on at the property. So pretty interesting, pretty cool. Aron, maybe you could tell me a little bit behind the science behind gamification. I know just enough to be dangerous and know that you're going to be giving me shots of dopamine that are going to make me happy and want to continue playing. But how do you see it working?
Yeah, so everything that we create at OfferCraft is all inspired by the world of behavioral economics and decision-making science, and really the thought process that goes into either a guest making a certain decision about a property or an employee engaging with maybe particularly dry material on the training side or compliance side or whatever it happens to be. And what we find again and again is that if you can present either that marketing offer or incentive or that HR training material to somebody who's working at the front desk or security or whatever, if you can present that information in a more enjoyable way, in a way that makes somebody actually smile and say, oh, this is kind of cool. I want to share this with my friend, or, I'm going to actually complete this and click on it. Then that is a world of improvement. All of a sudden, we get people to remember that promotion or that HR communication much more frequently. We get those people to, again, tell friends or colleagues about it. We get those people to actually act on it. And perhaps most importantly, it then allows us to make sure that from a psychological perspective, that individual has another positive experience that they are associating with the brand. And so it really enables us to sort of transform a lot of things that are often in other contexts either forgettable or sometimes downright boring if it's some of that compliance stuff, and it actually lets us transform that into experiences that people smile about, remember, and in the hospitality industry, as you know, that's the name of the game. You're trying to give somebody a really superlative experience, and this helps us from a kind of scientific perspective to again and again associate more positive feelings with the brand and ensure a lot more follow-up.
Right. So Jen, then my next question to you is obviously tell me about how customers are responding to this and what kind of difference you're seeing in regards to the results that you're getting in aggregate when it comes to loyalty marketing.
Oh, they love it. It's a lot of fun. That we'll have people that will go around. We recently had a customer that would go around. She would try to play the game every day, and she would come up with different email accounts and things like that, just because they like playing it so much. We had one really fun game over the summer that OfferCraft kind of developed for us. It was a fishing game. That was probably we got the most feedback on that fishing game off of Facebook than I think we have on any other promotion, just because they liked playing it so much.
Yeah, I love that, how you're getting people enticed, you're getting them excited, and a casino resort environment is the perfect thing for this, because you're going to be playing games at the property as well, so you might as well get them into that spirit as well. So, okay, a lot of the hotel companies out there are not nearly as sophisticated when it comes to this avenue of the business as you folks are in the casino universe. So, any kind of advice that you would give to folks about how to approach this in the right way?
Jen, do you want to take that first, and then I'll take it?
Yeah, I think from my perspective, like you said, kind of at the top of this, there's people that are out there that are dabbling in it a little bit. I would, as a piece of advice, I would say make sure that you're dealing with a company that knows what they're doing, and that has a good platform that's easy to use, which OfferCraft is. And you start off slow, and then once you get comfortable with it, just do one or two, maybe three little promotions, but then you incorporate it as part of your marketing plan. So it becomes part of all the different ways you're going to communicate with a guest about whatever it is you're trying to communicate, whether it's a promotion, whether it's an event, whether it's entertainment. It just becomes one of those pieces that you use to communicate.
Right.
Don't try to make it its own separate thing, because I think oftentimes we're all very busy people, and it kind of falls by the wayside if it's not incorporated into your overall marketing.
Makes a lot of sense. Aron, you got yourself a great plug, so that's pretty cool, and I should let everyone know I'm not being compensated for this. That would be awesome if I was. Maybe we could play a compensation game after this, but Aron, follow up with what she's saying.
Yeah, and Jen, thank you for the kind words there. I think that gamification is something that's really broadly applicable. We focus a lot on the hospitality, gaming, and entertainment segments, but we also bring this sort of thing to healthcare companies and retailers and manufacturers and energy companies. And I think I bring that up because it really goes to show that this is something that is broadly applicable. More games are being played today, thanks to the iPhones and Android phones in all of our pockets. More games are being played today than ever before. And there's so much noise out there that it's difficult for individual brands to differentiate themselves. And by utilizing tools like this, whether you are a hotel or a casino or just about any other organization for that matter, this is a way for you to communicate with people in a way that is more likely to be engaging for them, more likely to make them remember it, more likely to inspire them to take action.
Right.
One of the things, for instance, that we often do at hotels is like a little welcome game. So when you go and you're checking into the hotel, instead of then just handing you a whole bunch of coupons and saying, here you go,
right,
or giving you your key card, you can actually play a little game to see what kind of amenity you get. And often the rewards are things like discounts off extending your stay, for example, or discounts off a parking or certain other amenities that may be there, or future booking. And so it's very, very applicable in the kind of general hotel world as well, and certainly something that we think those folks should be considering.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's very, very interesting, and I am a lover of consumer behavior, and I find that this is really a universe where everybody can get involved, and it will make a difference to your bottom line. But I'm curious, from either one of you, are there any, I hate to say that M word, millennials, but are they more responsive to it, or is there another age group that's more responsive to it, or maybe just everybody likes to play games?
Well, I'll go. Yeah, from our perspective, what we see across, the broad portfolio, of all our clients around the world is that we don't really see a lot of game fall off until kind of the mid 70s range.
Right.
So we're good up to then. However, it is really important to create different kinds of experiences for different demographics. So, for example, if there is an older demographic, in general, these are all generalities, but they tend to prefer simpler, more chance-based games. Think like scratch-off type of game, or wheel spin, or something like that. Whereas your younger demographics, the millennials, etc., they tend to prefer more involved style games. Imagine puzzles and trivia games and things along those lines. And so those are things that we have to take into account. And that not only cuts across age, it also cuts across education level, economic status, and many other pieces. So all of those different elements can be incorporated. And one of the things I would just add there is that what's so interesting is that we can actually, from a hotel or casino's perspective, actually reverse engineer that data, so that if we offer a choice in games, for instance, to folks, we'll find that if we don't know who these people are, they're playing it from a gamified online ad, for instance, or they're playing a game on Wi-Fi or through Facebook, and we don't necessarily know them. When they play, if they choose a certain type of game, and even how they play that game, tells us a lot about who that person likely is, and gives us a new lens through which to analyze how those people think and behave. So instead of just thinking of the traditional tiers of, silver, gold, platinum, etc., we're able to now also say, well, gee, this person plays these games in the following ways, makes these decisions in the following ways, and we can then extrapolate forward and say that we believe this person is likely to be a bigger guest for us, or more important guest for us in the future, and warrants additional marketing.
Wow.
And so that's a really, really interesting angle that, we utilize quite often.
Well, that's a wrinkle that I didn't expect to hear, but I'm delighted about. So, Jen, tell me a little bit about that point and the age group thing as well.
Yeah, I think Aron nailed it pretty much on the head as far as the way I think it rolls out. The interesting thing that we've noticed in the data that we've received back is that it does it does vary from, we get very young, because we allow 18 here for bingo. We get very young folks playing the game, and we do get 65, 70-year-old. And obviously our database is skewed a little bit towards the 45 to 55 range, but they'll play all sorts of games. And so we're seeing a little bit broader than what I would anticipate, but I think Aaron's right on as far as where people will generally fall.
So what next? Where does this all lead to, or have we already reached the end of the line in terms of what we could do here and the opportunities available?
Well, from my perspective, we're always not only developing, new game experiences, but, we're just scratching the surface of what's possible here today.
Awesome.
This is not a concept that is terribly old, but it's a concept that is, has obviously proven to be really, really effective. One of the things that we spend a lot of time doing here at OfferCraft is not only thinking about the presentation of the game itself, but actually also thinking a lot about the rewards as well that somebody wins. So, one of the big efforts that we've put in and, spent a lot of time with our clients working on is the ability to actually, we created artificial intelligence that lives inside every reward that someone gets from playing a game and allows the reward to actually change itself over time. Ooh. So if I win 20% off my next stay, but I'm not using it, the reward itself understands, gee, I'm not working, so I need to now evolve into something else. So it might say, would you like to book 3 nights and get the 4th night free? Or would you like to give this to a friend? Or what if we make this start to change in value? Maybe it starts to go down in value by 1% a day, so 19%, 18%, and so on. And so there's a whole world of really, really interesting insights and experiences that can be gleaned from incorporating that into gamification, where once again, we're learning more about how people think and behave. And we're also ensuring that those rewards are much more likely to be redeemed.
Wow.
So, that's just one area, but we're constantly trying to push the envelope to make certain that these experiences can be as effective as possible.
Fascinating, interesting. Jen, any final thoughts?
No, not really.
Excellent. I love that we covered it all. That's amazing. That's terrific. How about you, Aaron? Anything to summarize up everything?
No. We just we have. I just want to say that we have really, really loved working with the Foxwoods team. The group over there is extraordinarily innovative, and it's easy, I think, for a lot of operators to kind of say, well, gee, you know what, that's for somebody else, or we're not ready for that yet. And it's very exciting for companies like ours to happen upon partnerships with folks like Jen and her team, because they really are pushing the envelope in a lot of great ways, and they're not afraid to experiment and try new things. And we're really grateful to them for all the great stuff that they've done with us.
Excellent. And be sure to go check out Foxwoods. You can find them, of course, foxwoods.com. And if you don't know where they are, hey, they're in Connecticut. You could fly into there, either from New York, but if you want to get a little bit closer, fly into Providence, TF Green Airport. That's what I would do, even though I take the ferry from Orient Point over to you guys when I have a chance to see you guys, Jen. So I want to thank you all for being here. Any other shameless plugs? Well, yes, check out OfferCraft. Are you just at OfferCraft.com, Aaron?
Yes.
All right. Excellent. Well, thank you all for being here, and keep listening, guys. I really love this, and we'll be back with another great segment right after this message.
Have a question for your host, Glenn? Tweet him now at Traveling Glenn. No Vacancy, the hospitality industry's #1 podcast. We'll be right back.
From Eureka to San Diego and Malibu to Bakersfield, the California Lodging Investment Conference, CLIC, is one of a kind, focusing exclusively on our Golden States hotel market. CLIC was launched in 2016 by Craig Sullivan, a seasoned hospitality industry professional, to harness the knowledge of our industry leaders, support our community, and educate emerging talent. CLIC brings together lodging professionals from California and beyond for one day of learning, professional development, and networking. If you are an owner, operator, investor, broker, developer, lender, management company, brand, or professional services provider, you should plan on attending Click 2 on March 8th, 2018 at the Hilton Irvine Orange County Airport. We invite you to go check out the California Lodging Investment Conference website at cliconference.com for the latest details and sponsorship opportunities. Early registration now open. And as a listener of the No Vacancy with Glenn Hausman podcast, please make sure to use our exclusive discount code of No Vacancy when registering for this one-of-a-kind in California hospitality event that sold out in its very first year.
Back to the show. It's No Vacancy, the hospitality industry's #1 podcast with your host, Glenn Hausman.
All right, winter's coming, guys, and I got to tell you, I'm not liking being up here north with the idea of this coming winter. It's not exciting. It's too cold for me. I'm very soft, so I think one of the things that I want to do is head on down to Fort Lauderdale, and if I do, I knew that there's a brand new redesigned hotel by Bahia Mar down in Fort Lauderdale. So the best person to talk to this about is Jimmy Tate, CEO of Tate Capital and a partner in the hotel. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great, Glenn. How are you today?
Well, as you could tell, I'm very sad about the whole idea of winter coming down this way. And you know what, Jimmy? It is getting dark here at like 4:30 up in New York, and it's just very sad and depressing. I need a little more sunshine in my life.
I hear you. Well, there's plenty of sunshine down here. Actually, many people say, what is the industry in South Florida? And I say the sun.
Yeah.
It's so true.
Yeah, for sure. Things seem just happier and better down there, especially at this time of the year. The weather's starting to get perfect for you guys, and it's great. So, Bahia Mar, so you guys put a whole lot of money into it on the tune of $7 million or so. Is that correct?
Yes, we did a little facelift for the main tower, spent about $7.5 million. Redid all the rooms, hallways, ballroom, Grand V room, all the breakout rooms, and the lobby. And we wanted to get it ready for the boat show, and it was really a Herculean task because we started late spring, early summer, and we were right on target, and then the hurricane hit, threw us back, had to bring on an extra 100 men, worked around the clock. But we did it, and we had a very successful boat show.
I'm glad. And just so for everybody listening, I tried to get my act together to do this before the boat show, but it just didn't work out. I've been on the road for the last 6 or so weeks before this recording, but I'm really glad we're having a chance to talk now. Now, you're in the Fort Lauderdale market, which to me has become one of the most challenging markets to operate in because everybody wants a hotel there. Everybody is looking to build something really special there. So tell me a little bit. Are you just crazy, or you think you got this all figured out to want to be in this particular market?
Well, I think I'd be crazy to say I have it all figured out, right?
Right, yeah,
because I don't think anybody has it figured out. We're in an evolving market, and one of the things that works for us is we're very flexible, our fingers on the pulse, and my partners and I are all South Florida raised. Right. So we've seen these markets, we've seen them come and go and evolve and change, and I think that we've come up with a design that really is for the next 100 years, notwithstanding the fact that our total design for the whole development, which includes a brand new hotel in addition to what we've just renovated, but also a residential component and commercial component, it's a true live, work, play, stay resort-style community built around a world-class marina. So I think that the amenities that we offer differentiate ourselves from every other hotel, not only just in Fort Lauderdale, but all of South Florida.
All right, so let's
we have the beach on the east and the intercoastal on the west.
Right, and I'm looking at an image right now. So tell me a little bit about how you think you're going to be able to cut through all that sheer volume of noise within the market to make sure people want to come to your hotel, which incidentally is a double trade. Yes. Right.
Well, again, I said, how do you differentiate yourself from the rest of the market? That's always the key to success in any business. And, product is king. So what we're going to do is we're going to focus on our product and then the delivery of the product. And what I mean by that is that there's a certain energy that you're going to feel when you drive through the front gates of the Bahia Mar. It's going to be relaxed. It's going to be resort. It's going to be nautical. It's going to be fun and highly spirited. You're going to be engaged from the valet all the way through the bellhops to the front desk to everybody in the hotel. It's something we've been working on, and I will tell you we've been getting rave reviews because the first thing that everybody told me since we took over the asset was what a difference in attitude. There's a great energy, a great vibe, and everybody just feels so welcomed. And now the fact that we're renovating the existing hotel and building a brand new hotel, I think it's just going to add fuel to that fire, and I think that people are very receptive to that because, you know what, you hit the nail on the head. Why us? Why not them? And so we have to take that extra step to make the total guest experience perfect.
So let's talk about that total guest experience. And I want to start with your people, because one of the things that I do when I'm delivering keynote speeches on stage or even having, discussion panels is all about how we're at the precipice of potentially losing that emotional connection with the guest, with not really speaking to the guest in a way that makes them feel warm and received. So what are you doing to connect with that customer through that human factor?
So, it's funny, and it's a hard balance because so many of the younger, demographic communities that do visit our hotel are very technologically advanced.
Right.
So they want everything. They want keyless rooms. They want everything on their phone, and they want apps to access and to check in early and to leave. But I believe that part of the hotel experience, especially a resort hotel, is that face-to-face contact. So one of the things I've told our concierge to do, even though we have a up-to-date, technologically advanced fob system and keyless app on all the phones, is I want her personally calling every guest when they check in to introduce herself and tell her that where she's located, she's available to help them to make their stay more pleasant, and that she's here to help them get into restaurants or sign them up for activities or just to educate them on the local market. Because I want that face-to-face contact, and even though it's over the phone, at least you're hearing a live voice. It's not just an app or a computerized voice that says, "Welcome to the Bahia Mar." Right. So I think that's one thing we're doing. And secondly, from the second you drive in, from the security to the valet to the bellhop to the front desk, everybody is going to greet you with a smile, ask how you're doing today, how can they help you, and what can we do to make your stay more enjoyable. I think that communication as people are walking through the hotel just creates a sense of energy and positive attitude that is then going to transcend to our guests and to their experience at the hotel. And it's something I'm very emphatic about, and I talk to my staff all the time. As a matter of fact, the staff's energy level has increased. Their attitude's been much better. We put them in new uniforms that they're so complimentary about. And they all, you know what? When you feel good, you act good, and everybody feels good working at the hotel now.
Yeah, but at the same time, and you're saying stuff like, I feel like you're preaching to the choir with me on this. I think it's all so critical. And again, I just want to underscore for everyone listening, that technology really has an effect to get in the way between you and the hotel guests, and we don't want that to happen. That's kind of why I'm spilling into this particular topic with you, Jimmy, because it's so important to me. So how do you make sure that your staff is actually motivated to be successful as opposed to just smiling, to really dig deeper, to really try to make a difference in your customer stay? Because as you intimated, the resort is a much more personalized type of environment for hotel guests.
Right. Well, listen, the only way you do that is continue to talk and reach out and speak to your staff. And, unlike many owners, I go to the property on a regular basis. I'm there at least 3 days every week, sometimes 4 days a week. I'm constantly talking to the staff. I know every staff member by name. They all know me by name. Mm-hmm. It's always a hug and a hello and how are you and how was your weekend and, personal, how, if they're married, ask about their wife by name or their children. I've gotten to know the staff and they've gotten to know me. And I think you lead by example. And once they see that interpersonal touch that I give them, then that just translates to what they need to do to our guests. And I beat it into their head, if you will, in a positive light. And they get it. And I will tell you, all you have to do is look at our results and our star reports and, from where we were 2 or 3 years ago, right after we first acquired the property to where we are today, it's light years ahead. And listen, there's always room for improvement and we're going to continue to get better, but they recognize it and we reward our people. Even though it's a Hilton hotel and it's managed by Hilton, I'm very hands-on, and we sort of have a hybrid-type relationship with Hilton, and I think Hilton appreciates it because we're more than just a hotel. We're a resort community.
Well, yeah, and they should appreciate that more because I know from the executives that I have friendships with over there, they're very keen on making sure that the the guest is not lost as we make this big shift through the 21st century here. So I want to learn a little bit more about the redesign. You know, you bought this property, and here in the hospitality business, it's pretty typical to buy a hotel that needs a little bit of love, repositioning, whatever it is, invest all of that money and reinvent it. So what condition did you receive the property in, and then go from there? Tell me a little bit about what your thought process was in making it something that's going to be relevant to today's much more sophisticated, much more demanding traveler.
So, you know, it's an interesting point. When we first bought the property, everybody thought we were, you know, geniuses. We were fortuitous and saw what was coming.
Right.
And we weren't. It was just another real estate transaction at first, a property that we've all known since we're all born and raised down here, and we loved it. It's iconic in nature. It's just a great asset, and it was very tired. It was owned by a fund for almost 10 years. And we just saw that they're having a lot of trouble with the local market trying to get any of their site plan approved. And we just felt like it needed that local touch, that hands-on experience where the owners were going to be in front of the commission, in front of the community, talking to them, explaining to them that we're not the enemy. We're part of the solution. We're part of the community. We all live here. We all have our kids here, our grandkids here. And we contribute back to the community. We just don't take from a community. And I give them all the example of a book we all read as kids called The Giving Tree. And if we don't give back, we're going to end up with nothing but an empty tree. And
yeah, for
all
sure.
You have to do is look at my family's history and my partner's family's history, and we're some of the most philanthropic families in South Florida. So I think they understand that, and therefore, although it's hard for them because it's a very close-knit community and it's old Florida, they've started to open their arms and welcome us and appreciate what it is we're doing. And we're not asking for much. Our new plan is per code as of right. We're creating a low-rise resort-style community built around a marina with a brand-new luxury hotel to complement our existing hotel, a boardwalk around the marina, almost a half mile. We're doing a marina village with this very cool kiosk. We're going to have 4 restaurants, all waterfront, 2 overlooking the ocean. What we're bringing to the city and to the county is unique in nature, and we're just taking the iconic asset that it already was, the Bahia Mar, and we're turning it into a living, breathing organism.
Wow,
and
that's pretty
it's
awesome.
Going to have something for and it's going to have something for everybody.
Yeah,
it's going to have a residential component, a commercial component, restaurants, a supermarket. And we're also going to have lots of offices on site for the brokerage community.
Wow, you have all of this space available?
The Bahia Mar is approximately 40 acres, which makes us very unique. Very unique.
That certainly does. So how long did it take you to site plan all of this, and when do you think you're going to get to be fully built out?
So good question. It's not quite site plan. We went down one route and met with the city, spent almost $3.3 million on legal and site planning. Yep, and finally came to the realization it just wasn't what everybody was looking for. We scrapped the plan. Nobody thought we'd do it. We did it. Just sort of proved that we are men of the community and we do listen and we do want to do something that's well received. So we went back to the drawing board. We actually did a charrette, invited architects from around the country. Coincidentally, Colby Karp Architectural Firm, an international firm that happens to be located in Miami and Dubai, won the charrette and actually designed a world-class resort-style community, which was per code and as of right, which makes it very unique. We're only utilizing about 30% of our total allowable density. Over 50% of our land is open space with parks and promenades and boardwalks. Beautiful. So there's really not much anyone can complain about on this plan. It's a brilliant masterpiece, architecturally significant, with old Florida charm and style, and all the open areas and promenades and restaurants for the community to come and enjoy. We got a grocery store, which will be able to not only work and procure our mega yachts and our residents, but also the local community on the barrier island. So we did something that really had great outreach and therefore great acceptance.
Wow. I love it. And this to me is very symbolic of where we're headed to in the future with these giant master plan type of resorts that have all of these different components in it. So how critical is it for you to drive people coming to the property outside, that aren't staying there, through either the boats on the marina or through people wanting to come to the restaurants when you're fully built out?
So what's very unique about our property is, as I mentioned earlier in the conversation, is that we had resiliency and sustainability at the forefront of our thought process with regard to design. So one of the things that makes us unique is we have 100% parking, asking for no variance for all on-site plus excess parking. We're going to have about approximately 2,400 parking spaces on-site. 1,900 of those are below grade. And why that's important is two reasons. Here's why it's important. Number one, we're designing a format which is going to be like a bathtub with flood barriers.
Yeah.
So in case there's ever storms surge, it will never flood.
That's great, because I've seen some of the rains. You can get a whole year's worth of rain in about an hour there.
And then in the event, water's funny. It seeks its own level. But in the event, any water seems to bypass any of the protective barriers that we're going to have in place, which I doubt it will because of its engineering feat.
Yeah, of course.
However, if it does, we're going to have backup sump pumps and generators and drainage systems to pump it out. But more importantly, what that does is it allows us to operate subgrade, sort of like Disney World. People don't realize, but Disney World has an entire subgrade operation, so that more stuff is going on below grade than above grade, and that's why it looks so smooth from an operational standpoint. And that's sort of how we're going to operate at Bahia Mar. So above grade, people are just going to see open parks and promenades and restaurants and people walking and enjoying. But below grade is where the operation of the site is going to take place.
Right.
And that also allows us to elevate the property, which, we need to deal with the realities. We whether you believe what caused the sea level rise or not, it doesn't matter.
Yep.
We're solution driven, and we want to come up with solutions. And this will allow our property to be around for the next 100 years, for the next few generations. So we feel we're doing our part. We're raising it up. We're making it sustainable with resiliency plans in place, and we're very proud of what we're doing. But what I was trying to tell you asked how are people going to come and get off. We have several means of modal transportation. We're going to have 3 water taxi spots. We're going to have a internal trolley drop-off, which is part of the Fort Lauderdale trolley. We're also going to have a concierge service for a 2 to 3 mile radius. So we'll take guests to and from the airport, to and from the port, and to Las Olas and other areas within a couple miles of our property through our concierge service with our own transportation. And then we have plenty of on-site parking, so people want to drive there and just park and enjoy the day. So keep in mind, we're right across the street from the world-famous Fort Lauderdale International, the Fort Lauderdale beach, which gets, 1.5 to 2 million people a year. So literally, we are the epicenter of Fort Lauderdale, and therefore we have to develop with that in mind.
Yeah, you certainly do. So a little show note: if you're interested in learning more about those corridors at Disney World, Google Utilidor Magic Kingdom, and you can learn all about those things there. So, how big is the marina business these days? I'm starting to see a couple of hotelier folks that I know wanting to get involved in it more actively. Are private boats becoming more popular, or is it just something that's been underutilized? Maybe it's both.
So are you talking about the marina
that you have
from an ownership standpoint?
Yes.
From a user standpoint?
No, from your standpoint as an owner of a property, because obviously if you're buying into a property such as this that has such a huge marina, you probably find it valuable to your business.
Right. So, it's an interesting comment and actually a very smart question, because the truth of the matter is therein lies the opportunity.
Yeah.
Most hoteliers are not marina operators, and most marina operators are not hoteliers. And only until recently did a lot of marina operators start to involve themselves with upland development. So once we put the property under contract, coincidentally, I was at a meeting with Goldman Sachs, a friend of ours, and he introduced me to someone he wanted me to meet. And it just so happens, complete coincidence, because nobody had a clue that we put this property under contract. I met with a very large marina operator, Bobby Christoph, the Christoph family from RCI Marinas, who happen to own the Coconut Grove Marina, the Miami Beach Marina, the Key West Marina, a marina in Boston, at the Boston Harbor, a major marina up in Chicago and in Connecticut. And we just started talking, and it was a very funny situation. Sometimes you just know. You get on the phone or you meet somebody face to face. You just can tell there's an immediate connection. And I called him up afterwards, and I said, Bobby, I got to tell you something. I fly from the hip. I'm an energy guy. I believe in energy, and this is something about you. I'm going to blow your mind. I said, but I need complete confidence. And he goes, granted.
Yep.
I said, Bat Dome? He goes, Bat Dome. I go, I said, Bahia Mar. He goes, I'm in. And it was very funny. So I said, no, I'm serious. He goes, what are you talking about? I said, we just put under contract. He's like, no way. He goes, seriously, I'm in. So I said, great. I said, let me introduce you to my partners. Let's meet. I said, but I really enjoyed the meeting. I enjoyed learning about you. I've done some quick research on you, and I think you would be a perfect fit because he's a family-operated business, and coincidentally, all my partners are family-operated businesses. And it was just a great fit, and he's become a very close friend, a great partner. And so because of that connection and because of that, level of experience we were able to bring in, we really were able to understand where a lot of low-lying fruit was available that we never would have known not being marina operators. So, he made subtle changes, subtle, it costs money, but certain changes right away, which increased our productivity, increased our volume, changed the way the gas tanks were used to these high-pressured, faster, electronic, whatever. I don't even know all the the jargon. But I could tell you our let's just put it this way: our performance went up by almost 60%.
Wow! First of all, let me let me compliment you on choosing to use the Bat Dome and not the Get Smart Cone of Silence, because that other one never works right, and the secret would have gotten out of there. Secondly, I think the observation I'm making from this conversation is to everyone listening, just really underscore when you know something so well. I think in life we have a tendency to discount it. So he's coming in and helping you and giving stuff which is probably very obvious, but it's like really revolutionary to folks on the other side of the equation. So,
and that's exactly right. I didn't understand what he was talking about, but one of the things I liked about Bobby, because it's a philosophy I have, he keeps it simple, stupid. He broke it down into a paint by number scenario where we quickly understood, so therefore we were able to make quick decisions. And you need to be flexible, you need to be nimble, you need to be able to be proactive, not reactive. And we made these decisions right away, and we saw the fruit from the labor and the fruit from the investment, immediately. And he continued to give us ideas, and we continued to give him the flexibility to implement them. And so far he's batting 1,000. So why not? He's the expert. We're not. We're slowly becoming more, engaged and understanding in his business, but that's his business, and we're very happy and we love the relationship. Just like, we're operation guys and we're real estate guys. So he doesn't, he lets us handle the operation of the property and the hotel and the real estate and the property management. And it's just a great, open, communicative relationship. And we work very well together in tandem. If we go to the right, he goes to the right. If we go to the left, he goes to the left. And nobody would know you have two basic different companies operating two segments of one property.
That's pretty awesome, Jimmy. I'm glad to hear that everything is working so smooth. So to keep things going smooth, when you're really looking at what today's resort customer wants, what are they seeking? And then what are you doing to anticipate those needs and maybe even provide them some stuff that they didn't realize that they needed but are really glad is there?
So, basically, again, we're competing with other resort-style communities, but we feel we're one of the few true resorts in South Florida. So it's all about lifestyle experiences. It's all about, customer relationships. So what makes us unique is there aren't many resorts that have a marina. So what does a marina bring? Well, we can do deep-sea fishing. We could go we do teach them how to go scuba diving. We take them off one of the largest reefs in the world, right off Fort Lauderdale Beach, which most people aren't even knowledge about. There's oceanographic study courses on site. We have paddle boarding, kayaking, jet skiing. And then obviously we have the beach right across the street, and we have the shopping on Las Olas, which is less than a mile away, and we're close to the port, and we're close to the airport, and we're close to the Galleria Mall, and there's just a lot of activity within a 2 to 3 mile radius all around our property. So what makes us unique? I guess the fact that we have a world-class beach, on the east side of our property, and we have one of the most well-recognized world-class marinas on the west side of our property. And because of those two, amenities. We can offer different types of services and activities that people can't get just staying at a typical resort hotel. Typically, a resort hotel, you go swimming at the pool, and if you're lucky, you go on the beach.
Yep.
But we're actually able to offer the marina activities along with that, which most people aren't, able to get to. Sometimes if you want to go scuba diving, you have to go to Key Biscayne or drive to the Keys. But people don't realize we have one of the largest living reefs right off of Fort Lauderdale.
One of those people. I had no idea. Really interesting.
So those are some of the things that sort of differentiate us. And again, just making that entire experience fun and exciting and special, and making everybody feel like they're your only guest. That's the key to success. When everyone walks out and there's no way they treat everyone else the way they just treated me, we've succeeded.
Yeah, because that's really what you want, especially in this day and age. As I said earlier, as everybody becomes a lot more sophisticated, that's for sure. So, okay. So, other than this, tell me about another project that you had that you thought was really cool and really definitive of where we're all heading in terms of consumer behavior.
So we're actually in the process. It hasn't been announced yet, but we're working on a very large mixed-use vertical retail entertainment / retail / hotel / restaurant / interactive complex right across the street from the Dadeland Mall.
Oh,
so that's going to be super cool. Different area, but it will have a hotel component. We'll have theaters and restaurants and grocery and plain old business and retail. So it's a true mixed-use development, because we think the days of the big boxes are gone and the days of just flat retail are gone. So you have to create an experience. It's all about as you said before, the customer experience. So I think the more successful developments in the future are going to have those elements involved in the equation when they go ahead and design a plan. Unless it's a single box.
Of course. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I love the whole idea of mixed-use projects. I think they're a lot of fun. They're interesting. You could really parse up the real estate in a lot of different ways and split it up with different people. So I think that's pretty cool. So, Jimmy Tate, any final words before we wrap up today?
Well, I just want to say thank you, Glenn. I appreciate the time, and it's a very cool podcast that you're doing. I think you're spot on, and it's nice that you'll be able to bring all your customer base to different markets, and in this case, it's South Florida. And as you said before, although the winters are nice, they get a little cold and tiring.
Yep.
And so, as I say to you, and I say to all your customers, come on down. Enjoy a stay at the Bahia Mar. We'd love to have you. We'll welcome you with open arms. And I got to tell you, average temperature is in the mid-70s to low 80s throughout the winter. So come and enjoy.
Beautiful. I love it, and I think that's a perfect way to end it today. All right, so if you want to check out Bahia Mar, where can we go?
So you can go to the Bahia Mar website, www.bahiamar.com, or Hilton website, and look for the Bahia Mar Fort Lauderdale. There's plenty of opportunities to access, or you just come to South Florida.
Yep.
You go to Fort Lauderdale International Airport, and you're about 2 miles as the crow flies from our property.
Excellent. Just make sure you tell the Uber guy to take you to 801 Seabreeze Boulevard in Fort Lauderdale. Jimmy Tate, I want to thank you so much for being here. This was a lot of fun. I want to thank everybody here for listening to today's show, and I will be back next week. That is, unless I decide just to go down and hang out at Bahia Mar all winter on the beach. So, hey, who knows? Maybe I'll see you. Maybe I won't. All right. I'll see you guys next week. Thanks for listening.
Thanks so much for listening to No Vacancy, the hospitality industry's #1 podcast, with your host, Glenn Hausman, online at rouse.media, on Twitter at TravelingGlenn, and on Facebook.com/Glenn.Hausman. We'll catch you next time.